Testing. 1, 2, 3. How you doing, Pat?
I'm fine.
Speak to me.
Can I get back to my Sebastian Stan thing?
Oh yeah, what were you talking about?
Okay, so the Winter Soldier is played by Sebastian Stan, the actor.
Mm-hmm.
And he just does something for me. It's like biblical. It's like in my bones, you know? Like he just does it for me.
Okay.
Especially because in this series he cut his hair so it's nice and short and he has stubble. And I don't know. I would see him and I'm just like,
Should I look up this man's?
oh sure, go for it.
Let's look him up real quick. Sebastian. I can't barely see my keyboard. Sebastian King.
Stan King.
Sebastian.
Well, I do think he's a king, so like, you know.
Oh, he does. He does look attractive. He
Yeah,
kind of looks like. Wait, I know this man's from somewhere.
Yeah, he's in the Marvel films.
What is he from?
He's the Winter Soldier.
Oh right. Oh, is it?
I just said that. You absolute twat.
I was like, I know him from somewhere. Me looking at a picture of him, like in the movie.
You know why? I absolutely hate you sometimes.
Oh my god.
Sometimes
Well,
I absolutely hate you.
I know that you hate me, but you don't have to tell our podcast listeners about it too.
Who? All 5 of them?
Yes, all 5 of our lovely, adoring fans.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my dad.
Oh yes.
Radhika.
Anthony.
Yeah.
Me, because I listened to it.
I listened to it too. That counts.
That's all 5 right there. That's all 5. Amazing.
Anyway, hello everybody. Welcome back to another episode of What Do the Gays Think? It's Sunday night. It's very dreary. It was a nice day out today, though. What?
Dreary? It's perfect outside. It's got a nice cool breeze. It was clear skies.
It's a Sunday night, and I'm upset that I have to work tomorrow. Okay.
Well, I mean, aren't we all? But this is where we are.
Yeah, aren't we all? Anywho, so hello everybody. I know I already introduced us, but today with me, I of course have the hunky and glamorous Pat. How you doing, Pat?
Nothing glamorous about these cold sores on my lips, which they're not really visible right now.
I don't see anything. They look fine.
But I have 2. Because they went down a lot. I have 2 right here.
Well, I can't see them. They look wonderful. They look just fine.
It's awful because it makes eating very difficult and drinking, and then they crack.
Oh.
And they bleed, and it's just terrible.
Oh, baby.
Herpes really is one of the worst things.
Baby.
Pig baby.
Pig baby. Anyway, Pat, you're leading today's episode today, right? So what are we talking about?
Yes. We're talking... Well, first of all, did you see that thing? It was like a news article. I think it was somewhere in Europe, like Spain or some shit, where they're trying like a 4-day work week.
No, I did not hear about this. Tell me about it.
I heard about this. No, I don't know anything about it. I was hoping you did. I just heard that it might be a thing, and I'm like, that's what we need. We need a 4-day
We do need
work.
that. Oh, that would be lovely.
And then Sunday
wouldn't
wouldn't
it?
be the first day of the week anymore. Well,
Yeah,
unless
it
they
would
made
be. Oh, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off would be great. That'd be pretty
I think
lit.
the more people have time for the things they love themselves and free time to, like, you know, buy into the economy, I think it would be great for our country. But you know what? I'm a socialist.
Oh my
so
God! Don't tell that to our podcast listeners. They're gonna call us communists.
I'm pretty sure they know from our episode about the political compass tests where I fall. So it's pretty obvious.
Well, if you've listened to our episode of the political compass test, or if you haven't listened to that episode, go ahead and give that a listen. It was a couple episodes ago, where Pat and I take the political compass test, and clearly we are both, you know, communists. No,
communists. Anyway, today we'll be talking about the Justice League film that came out over the weekend, or came out on Thursday.
All right. So, was it good? Was it bad?
I will get into it.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
You.
God, you couldn't just spoil me.
That's what I'm about to ask you. Do you care? Because I'm gonna get into the spoilers of it all. So.
Well, spoiler warning for anyone who wants to actually watch the movie. Apparently, we're gonna get into it.
I mean, if you don't want to listen, Matt, just turn yourself off. I'll speak directly to
You're just
the
gonna just
listeners.
take over the podcast for this episode. I don't even care.
Okay, fine. Well,
No. You can talk to me. I'm probably not gonna watch the movie.
great. It's 4 hours long, so I don't think you'd want to invest that much
My
time in
God.
it.
What is it, the goddamn Titanic? Why is it so long?
I'm pretty sure it's longer than Titanic, but I will explain.
Ah,
So the film, Justice League, came out in 2017, right? Yeah, 2017.
right.
And now, 4-ish years later, the director's cut of the film is coming out. So this is the whole thing.
Mm,
On May 22nd, 2017, Zack Snyder, who was the director for the film, left because his daughter committed suicide and he couldn't finish the film in post-production.
mm-hmm.
So then November 17th, 2017 is when the film released. They had brought on Joss Whedon, who did Avengers and the second Avengers film, to come in, finish the film in post-production, and then he did reshoots as well, and then release the film. Now, a lot of people didn't like the movie when it came out.
The original one.
The original theatrical cut. I was one of those people. Like, it definitely had parts that were good, but there were definitely parts that were not good in it. So then people were like, well, we want to see Zack Snyder's version because there were rumors that it was drastically different in
Right.
terms of the plot and then the scenes and blah, 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 blah. So then August 18th, 2019, the Aquaman actor Jason Momoa actually said that he had seen the cut of the film that was originally Zack Snyder's cut. He said it was amazing. People started getting the hashtag release a Snyder Cut trending. And then back in May of 2020, HBO Max said, okay, we're going to release a Snyder Cut. It's here. It's real. You'll be happy about it.
Right.
And in the fall of 2020, Zack Snyder actually did some additional shooting for the film. And then in May 18th, 2021, he releases his film. So 4 years, 5 years really, because they probably filmed it in 2016.
Mm-hmm.
5 years later, he gets to release his version of the film. So like it's just like a comic book film. It's not that deep, people.
Oh.
But it's unprecedented because the fact that never before has a fan base demanded this level of like a redo of a film, basically.
Have you heard of Sonic the Hedgehog?
See, that's another part of this culture where, a company, a production team, a director gets feedback from the fans, and then at least in the case of Sonic, it was during filming that they could change it. This is actually after filming.
Right.
And for so long, people thought that this footage, the Zack Snyder cut, didn't even exist. The people who worked at Warner Brothers, who produces the film, didn't even want it to be released at first, blah, 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 blah. There are all these rumors and shit like that. So anyway, we get the cut of the film. It's finally released. So I just want to talk about how the two films compare and like the pros and cons of the director's cut itself.
Okay. Well, I've seen neither of them, so that's good.
Right. So it doesn't even matter. You're just like John. Hasn't seen any of them.
What? John watches movies more than I do, probably.
Yeah, but he hasn't seen either.
Well, then I'm sorry.
I would love to sit down with him and watch with him, just because I want to be with him.
Oh, I would cuddle with him.
Okay. So Joss Whedon did the first cut of the film after Zack Snyder left because of his daughter.
Mm-hmm.
So he recut the film dramatically. He reshot certain scenes. And really the big thing was when the movie came out, the theatrical cut of the film, it was very like, you could tell where Zack Snyder had filmed and where Joss Whedon had filmed because they were two different aesthetics. Joss Whedon brought a lot of humor into the film because it had been criticized that Zack Snyder's films were too dark, like Batman v Superman and Man of Steel. Mm-hmm. So Joss Whedon, who was known for doing the Avengers films, which are MCU films, which are a lot lighter in tone,
right.
He brought in a lot more humor, a lot more lightheartedness, and people could see that it was like two different movies that kind of just were sandwiched together and sent out. So it wasn't great. Also, side note, Joss Whedon has had multiple allegations of like misconduct and abuse on sets.
Great.
So
love that.
It's like during filming, apparently he was abusive on set, like verbally. And then recently, a lot of previous actors and actresses who worked with him have come out to say like he wasn't cool on set.
Great.
Like apparently, because he did the whole Buffy the Vampire series.
Right.
Um, like there was one actress who was not allowed to be on set with him alone.
Oh,
Like the rest of the crew knew not to let her be alone with him. It was that
ooh.
kind of thing. So those are rumors. I don't know the truth. I'm just saying Joss Whedon may not be the best man, and we should probably just let him go. He's some
Oh,
white
let him
man. Let's just let
go.
him go.
Let him go where?
Just to
Murder him.
no. The annals of time. Just
Okay, just like let
leave
him vanish
him.
into existence.
Yes.
Right.
Um. So his cut of the film is about 2 hours, 120 minutes. Zack Snyder's cut is 4 hours long, 4 hours and like 5 minutes or some shit like that.
Mm.
So there's like 2 hours of additional footage. So a lot of people were like, A, this footage doesn't exist, and then B, when they found out it did, and they found out that Zack Snyder was doing additional photography for the film, they were like, oh, he's gonna add in like so much stuff. He only added in about 5 minutes of new footage.
Oh,
Everything else
well.
had been shot years ago, and then they just stored and didn't put in the film.
Right.
So I was excited because I was like, oh my God, that's literally 2 hours of basically new footage,
That's
and
like
hopefully it's
double the
better.
movie.
Yes. So now the film itself, pros and cons.
Okay, tell me.
We're gonna start with the
Let
cons.
her rip.
The film is too long.
Oh.
Like,
Wow.
for me, it's not that big of a problem because I like sitting through it. I like seeing all the detail, blah, 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 blah. But
Mm-hmm.
I had to pee like 5 times.
Oh.
The good thing is the film is separated into parts. So you can stop whenever there's a new part and then jump back in. And then, it even says like part one, part two, part three.
Yeah,
Fine. That's cool.
fine.
But um, it is a bit long. So it's kind of hard to sit through in one sitting. I had to stretch a little bit. I had to get up and pee. I was watching with Kel and he's like, you have to pee again? I was like, yes, I do. I have a
Oh.
small bladder.
Drinking
The
lots and
second
lots
thing
of water.
is, well,
Wow.
gotta stay hydrated. The second thing is there's a lot of slow motion scenes. Now, for like scenes with the Flash, it makes sense because he's supposed to be moving very fast and everything around him moves very slowly in comparison.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. But then there were just kind of like slow-mo scenes for no benefit, like someone picking up a coffee, someone walking out a door,
Was it
um,
really?
someone like looking out a window, like a lot of slow motion. And when you have a film that's already 4 hours long, the slow motion really just slows the pace of the film for no
Right.
reason. And a lot of the beginning part of the film is jumping back and forth, so the pacing just feels very weird. And then you add those slow mo scenes, you're kind of just like looking at your watch, like or your phone, like any day now we'll get through it. But for the flash scenes, it made sense, so I was like, okay, fine, whatever.
Okay.
And the last con was the CGI in the film is still very much overused and not good.
Oh.
In comparison to other
Ah.
modern films, like
The Avengers.
like the Avengers films, yeah, some of it just doesn't look good.
Mm.
So, um, the main villain is this guy named Steppenwolf, and he definitely looks better. He's completely CG, but he looks better in this film than the first film. Fine, I like that. But a lot of the fight sequences and then the other CG characters just didn't look like they were grounded in the world. They looked very out of place.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have characters like Thanos from the MCU, which was done very well and looked realistic and like it existed in whatever world they were in, this looked very kind of out of place and like strange to look at.
Hmm.
Very weird.
So, why do you think that is? Is it because the budget for this movie is not as high as like the Avengers films? Like, what do you what,
I
what's
don't think so because they actually put in a like HBO put in a lot of money to get this film finished because even though Zack Snyder had all of the filming done, he had none of the VFX done, so none of the
Mhm.
CGI stuff was actually finished. So he had to go back and finish it all. And they had to put in a lot more money to get it finished. It could be the companies they get to work on it aren't the same as like the MCU ones, so they yield different, products. But also Zack Snyder's aesthetic is different, so
Right.
it just could be what he wanted to see aesthetically. Um, but beyond that, I'm kind of like, it also is a dated movie. It is a movie from 5 years ago, so
Hmm.
like it could just be that it just didn't age
Well,
well.
you know that HBO can do this type of CGI stuff though, because we saw Game of Thrones. Those dragons are like, if you ask me,
Yeah,
they're pretty good. And Game of
yeah, but
Thrones is an
it's
older show too.
But it's not HBO who does the animation for it. HBO hires a company that does the VFX, and
Yeah.
that company does it. So unless they use the same company, or if they use a different one, you're going to get different products.
Well,
So
HBO, you fucked up apparently.
I don't know. But those are the three main cons. And honestly, in a film like this, those three aren't like they're not the worst thing in the world.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm gonna get to the pros of it. So the film is substantially better than the theatrical cut. Like it is just a better movie. It's not a perfect movie. It's not a 10 out of 10, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still like I would sit through this 4 hour film like 100 times more than I would sit through that 2 hour film, just because it's way more enjoyable. So I was happy about that.
That is good.
Um, the best part about this film wasn't even like the extra scenes, really. It was just that Zack Snyder got to direct it again because all of the films that he's done, which is Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, they all have his aesthetic, they all have his story. It felt like the natural progression. And he was supposed to film, two other Justice League films, but he probably won't now because Warner Brothers doesn't want to. But it was all one story, all his direction, so it just fit much more nicely than the theatrical cut did. So just seeing it as a fan, I was like, oh, this is great because the tone is the same, the direction's the same, the color palettes they choose, the CGI unfortunately all looks the same. Fight sequences are shot the same, so I was like, okay, this is good.
Mm-hmm.
Not to mention, the one big gripe people had, or one of them with the theatrical cut, was Henry Cavill plays Superman, and in the theatrical cut, he had a mustache that he couldn't shave off because he was in contract with another movie.
Right.
So when he came back for the reshoots that Joss Whedon did, they were like, okay, we can't shave your mustache off, so we're gonna like CGI your mustache away.
Oh.
They didn't do a good job though. So like it looks like his upper lip gets expanded and his like lip itself gets cut in half. So it's just kind of like a blur of skin.
Oh. Ah.
It doesn't look great. So like with this one at least, it was all like the original filming, so it still looks the way it should look. So I was very happy about that. It's connected to all the other films, and basically Zack Snyder's giving you like an event comic film. So event comics are obviously comics that are multi-story. They have different comic lines that have like take months and months to run through, and they all culminate in this big finale. Mm-hmm. So having this 4 hour film with all of these individual storylines and different characters, it just felt like they were giving you a big event comic, which for average moviegoers isn't going to sit right because it doesn't translate to film well. Because the fact that you have to bounce between all of these people, all these storylines, when you watch the first couple parts of the film, you're like jarred because everything keeps changing so quickly. Mm-hmm. But he's trying to transition from comics to film the best he can, and it's hard to do that because they're two different mediums that don't really vibe well.
Interesting. It almost sounds like it could have been like a 4-episode TV show.
That's what they were going to do originally. They were actually going to segment it into 4 hour parts and then release it as episodes. But then he was like, you know what? We're just going to wrap it all together and just release it all together. And either way, I feel like it would have felt the same at this point. Because now that we can, press pause whenever we want because it's a streamable thing, you could make it episodic if you wanted to. But
I guess so.
It didn't, he does his best to translate this huge comic book thing to a film, and he does like a good job of it for the most part. But in reality, this film was really just for fans. So John asked me if you should watch this film, and I was like, well, it's not really like, he made this only because the fans campaigned for it. It only exists because fans wanted it. Warner Brothers, HBO wasn't going to do this by themselves. So really, like, this is for people who truly wanted to see this version. If you're not heavily invested in Zack Snyder and his stories, like, watching this film could be kind of long, a little boring, and, like, sort of asking yourself, why would I do this to myself? But if you're a fan, if you really wanted to see this, then this film, even if it wasn't a great film, which it still was a really good film, mattered, and it still was worth watching. So when John asked me, I was like, listen, it's not really for anyone who's not a fan. Like, if you didn't really want to see this, if you didn't have, like, the urge to see this cut released, you're probably not going to enjoy watching it as much as someone who honestly wanted to see this from the start. So if you wanted to watch it, I don't know.
I mean, I didn't see it in the first place, so...
Yeah, well, if you do see one of them, definitely see this one, because this is the superior version of it, honestly.
But it's so long. It's so long.
That's why they have the parts. You could watch
4 hours.
You could watch the first 2 parts, be like, I'll watch another 2 parts tomorrow. And then you can watch the last 2 parts and the epilogue after that.
Oh my god, I feel like I'd be watching it for days.
Yeah, well, that's what you do with TV. That's what you do with TV shows all the time. So don't even,
I mean, you got
girl.
me there. You got me. You got me there.
Oh yeah. The plot, is it's just like, if you're a fan of the comics and you know the comic line he's drawing inspiration from, the plot. It's just like a big guy comes to Earth looking for some stuff. The heroes have to assemble to stop him. Pretty standard stuff.
Right.
So the main plot
Classic.
isn't really like you're not going there for the plot really. It's more for what scenes were added and the expanded storylines for each character because every character gets a lot more given that there's 4 hours for them to actually operate in.
Hmm.
So, character by character, Ben Affleck's Batman gets a much clearer arc in the story. Because he started in Batman v Superman as being this like evil, abusive Batman, and then by the end of Justice League, he's kind of at peace with himself. He's, brought together all these heroes. He's kind of fulfilled his promise to Superman that he would get the team together and save the world, yada yada yada. So it's just a lot more clear. Unfortunately, he's still like mostly Bruce Wayne in the film. Like he doesn't get a lot of Batman scenes, which kind of
Right.
sucks because I love Batman. But you know what? Work.
Well,
It's
I
fine.
thought Batman wasn't part of Justice League, or am I mistaken?
You're totally mistaken.
Well, here we go.
This is why you could have just turned off the camera and I
Here
could
we
just
go.
spoke
Goodbye.
directly.
Goodbye. My input doesn't mean anything in this episode. Not a
That's
single thing.
fine. That's fine. This is about what things that we like. An episode will come around when you want to talk about, I don't know, like stats. And I'll just
Well,
sit here like,
no, see, the thing is, though, is I'm going to make you engage with me. I'm going to ask you questions, and I'm going to make you engage with me.
Don't worry. I actually have a question for you at the end of this.
At the end, okay. Let me just turn off my
Yeah.
camera, and I'll wait to the end.
Yeah, okay. And then let's see. Oh, Superman. So Henry Cavill no longer has his terrible CG mustache, which is great. He gets to have his black like resurrection suit, which is cool. But he's beyond that. He's just beating people up.
I gotta love it.
Wonder Woman gets really good. Like all the fight scenes with Wonder Woman get better because it's an R-rated film, so she's able to like murder people.
Ah,
There's a scene, like the intro scene where she's like stopping a bank robbery. She like breaks into the door, she starts like protecting people. She literally takes a man and like kicks him, catches him and throws him against the wall and his head just splatters on the wall and just falls and he's dead.
all right.
Oh,
Was
it's
the
so visceral. It's
what
just so visceral.
was the original Wonder Woman not rated R? And she couldn't murder
No, so
people.
like yeah, so most of the DC films are not rated R. Especially Wonder Woman was not rated R. The first Justice League wasn't. So like she would obviously like kill people, but it wouldn't be like outright or it wouldn't be seen as much.
Right.
The blood wouldn't be there, so they could be like, "Oh, they're just unconscious."
Oh yeah, of course they weren't murdered.
But she straight up murders people in this film, and it's really nice to watch this because the way Zack Snyder directs Wonder Woman, she's like this super fast, super powerful speed demon that just like bounces back and forth and murders people left and right. So I was happy about it.
Yeah, I love it. I saw Wonder Woman. That was a good movie.
She like literally like murders a bunch of people in this room, and it's like these kids are hostages in that. So that she murders everyone. She goes to the girl and she's like, "Are you okay? Like, is everyone fine?"
Hello.
And I would have been like, "You just murdered like 8 men in front of me. How am I fine?"
Amazing.
Unfortunately, she gets kind of sidelined at one point because she's just like narrating the history that they have to learn in the film at one point. So I was like, whatever.
Ah, she's my favorite
Yeah,
character.
she's great. Then there's Aquaman, who's basically the same as he was in the last movie. He doesn't benefit much from this movie.
Oh, but Jason Samoa. Is that his name? Jason Momoa. That's it.
Samoa.
Samoa.
Yeah, Jason Momoa. But he's still
Jason
great. Like he's still
Samoa.
great to look at. Like he's still an attractive man, but he doesn't get too much to work with besides what he had in the first one. But that's fine. It wasn't his film.
Right.
The Flash definitely benefits because he has a new intro scene, which is like half creepy, half nice.
Mm.
So his intro scene is that he runs into his future love interest Iris. They like meet briefly. and then he's trying to like get a job at like a dog groomer or some shit like that. Like, he's not a
What?
criminal investigator. He's not a crime scene guy yet. So he sees Iris. He walks in. He starts talking, and then he sees her get in her car, and she's driving away. And they have a moment where they look at each other. They smile, and I'm like, oh, they could, eventually they're gonna,
Oh,
start dating, whatever. And she like some guy runs a red light, and she hits into him, and he like has to go save her from being in a car accident.
right.
So then he like goes into his super speed, runs over, catches her outside of her car, but then like there's a moment where she's just like floating in air, like slowed down because he's moving super fast, and he just like starts caressing her face.
Oh no,
And
no,
I'm
no,
like,
no.
A, you don't know this woman. You just met. And B, she's like in the middle of like almost dying. Can you probably just save her first? But the scene is
uh,
done very well in that it looks very nice. Like the whole him slowing down time or moving super fast that it looks like time has slowed down. That whole aspect of the scene looked great.
but what did we need to caress her face in the middle of saving
No,
her
we
life?
did. We did. He like pulls back her hair a little bit. I'm like, you don't know this woman.
Yeah.
Like you smiled at each other, but that could have just been like, "Hi, how you doing?"
Uh,
Cordial.
toxic masculine culture. Can we not?
Can we also talk about how Ezra Miller like choked out a girl?
Who?
The actor for The Flash, Ezra Miller, was on video choking a girl in
Okay,
public.
but was she into it?
No, I don't think she was. Like, it was so funny because it came out, like, there were articles about it a while ago and then no follow up. And I was like, is the girl alive? Is she okay?
Is she alive?
Um, but, like, yeah, he goes up to her and like starts choking her and like pulls her down. And I'm like, what am I watching?
Ah,
And then a lot of people wanted him fired from the film because, like, he was choking her, but like nothing ever came of it. I'm like, what the fuck was that about?
just get Grant Gustin to do it.
He's not good.
What?
Hot take, Grant Gustin's Flash is not good.
Oh, and I oop.
The suit isn't good, but then again, it's a TV show, so the production value is low.
They change the suits every season, though. I saw a lot
And
of
I
them.
hate all of them.
Oh,
And also, Grant Gustin plays the Flash as this constantly moody, depressed guy who
he
feels like he
does.
can't save anyone.
He
And
does.
then he does that stupid thing where he's like, "I'm not going to go back in time to save anyone. It would be too problematic." And then he does it.
And then he doesn't. He goes back in time anyway.
Oh, okay, we're not talking about the Flash series, which is garbage and has run on for too long.
Oh, like every
Back
series
to
ever. Anyway,
back to the film. The last character, Cyborg, benefits the most from this cut because so much of his backstory and scenes were cut from the theatrical release. So you get a lot more backstory. His is probably the most sympathetic because you get to see his struggles with his father, the loss of his mother, the car accident, which kind of forces him to become Cyborg. So it's very sweet. It's very
cute.
endearing. Um, but I think the best part of the films were all the flash forwards. So Zack Snyder was supposed to make Justice Leagues 2 and 3. Not going to happen now. But he had
Mm.
flash forward to this apocalyptic world where basically Superman lost Lois Lane. She died. And
Isn't
during the
Superman
moment,
dead?
he came back in this film.
Oh, okay.
And then in
Well,
the future, Lois Lane dies. Superman, in this moment of weakness, succumbs to Darkseid, who's the main villain, his influence, and becomes evil.
oh,
So then Superman blames Batman for Lois Lane's death because he was supposed to protect her. So in this dystopian future, Superman basically kind of rules over the world and is hunting down Batman to kill him for the death of Lois Lane.
okay.
So you get all these flash forwards of like a dead Wonder Woman and Aquaman who both were killed by Darkseid. You get to see Lois Lane's charred body. And
Mm.
then the epilogue, which was the thing that he shot last of the film, um, basically had Batman with the Flash, Mira, who's Aquaman's love interest, Cyborg, and the Joker all plotting to steal this piece of technology to help send Flash back in time so he can warn Batman to protect Lois Lane. Because if Lois Lane never dies, Superman never becomes evil, whatever, whatever, whatever.
Right.
And the scene is great because you actually have the Joker and Batman conversing with each other. Um, and that version of the Joker, Jared Leto, never actually got to meet Ben Affleck's Batman in any other film, so you get this nice moment between them. And because out of all of the theatrical live action Batman and Joker interactions, theirs is the only one that has like a lot of history. So in all the other films, it's usually about when Batman and Joker first meet, their first interaction, and how they get to know each other. This one
Hmm.
is they've known each other for like probably 20 years,
Right.
and they're going back and forth talking about their relationship and how Joker killed Robin, and then Harley Quinn asked Batman to kill the Joker when she died because she hated him, and he's like, basically, it's like when Harley Quinn was dying in my arms, she said that I should kill you slowly, and I'm going to.
Oh,
And Joker's like, okay, like, work.
I guess I was spoiled. I didn't know that Harley Quinn died.
Well, she dies in the like in this dystopian future.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
not in any film, but would have been in that future. She had died at some point.
Right.
And during her death, she asked Batman to kill Joker slowly. So you get this really nice relationship. You get all this background for them, and um, it's very great. It's so rewarding. So as a fan, this film was great. So my biased opinion is it's a 9 out of 10.
Nice.
My unbiased opinion is it's a 7.5 out of 10.
Okay. So that's
So
pretty
I
good.
tried. It still like suffers from pacing problems. It's long. All those slow motion scenes in the CGI really just bring it down. But I'm biased because I'm a fan, so I think this is great. Because honestly, this film, like I said before, shouldn't even exist. So just the fact that it's here is a benefit of itself.
The
Like
fans demanded it.
it's just the icing on the cake, like it's the
Take a
it's the
nice,
bee's
take a
knees.
nice big slice of that cake.
Me when I look at your ass.
Ah, you don't see it that often, please.
No, I don't. But anyway, because my question for you was,
Mm,
so this, much like the Sonic thing, this film, this cut, the Sonic difference between the original design and the new design only happened because of the visceral reactions of fans. So should producers, creators allow fans to influence their decision making? Should they allow fans to dictate the content? Because it's for the fans, obviously. You make
hmm.
content for fans. But like, is the fandom too crazy? Should they relax? Is fandom being a fan too much now?
I think it depends on the story you're telling and like for example, let's take Avatar as an example.
Oh Lord, here we go.
Right. So, I'm like 90% sure that like the creators of Avatar knew how it was going to end like from the beginning.
Okay.
And they knew that like Aang wasn't going to end up with Katara or something or
Spoiler alert.
spoiler alert, or they knew that Aang was going to end up with Katara, but fans were like, "Oh, we want Zutara." Um,
Yeah.
but then, like, I don't know. I think it's like if you have an idea in your head about how a story's going to go, and you know how it's going to end, so you get into like the middle of this series, but then your fans are demanding something else than what you originally had planned.
Yeah.
Like, just whatever you're doing, like make your original idea like reality. Like if you have an idea in your head, then make that the reality. Don't let the fans dictate and change the idea that you had in your head already. That's my opinion
Right.
on it. But like if it's a story that you're just kind of going with, like there's no like planned ending or you don't know how it's going to end, like maybe the fans can dictate some roles in what happens. Like there's always that
Right.
those kind of fan servicey kind of moments in a lot of a lot of
Oh
popular
yeah.
media.
Yeah. I think especially with comic book films, whether you're talking about Marvel or DC, so many of the moments are fan service.
Oh yeah. Mm,
Like, and you try to dress it up as much as plot as possible, but some of them are just straight up fan service, which,
no.
it's made for fans, especially these comic book films, which are explicitly for fans. Like, it's not for, the average moviegoer, it's they can watch it, but like those fan service moments aren't for them, obviously. It's for people who are devout to these things.
Yeah, I mean, like take the Sonic movie for example. Like the Sonic movie is for Sonic fans, right? Like that's
Yeah.
that's the point in which they were making it to, or at least that's what I thought that they were making it to, right? To appeal to Sonic fans. So when they
Right.
made Sonic not look like Sonic, of course the Sonic fans were gonna scream and be like, "What the heck?
Yeah.
This doesn't look like Sonic at all." And they went ahead and they
Yeah.
changed it to look like Sonic, and everyone was like, "Oh my god!" Right? And then it was actually a pretty good
Yeah.
movie.
Like I think because at that point it's not like a story component, it's just an aesthetic. And if you want to change an aesthetic, I think that's more feasible, obviously. It probably costs a lot of money just because it's a computer animated image and you have to go back and fix it all. But I think it's way more appropriate for fans to dictate an aesthetic or an image more so than like plot or development.
Right.
Um, and I think that's one of the reasons why Zack Snyder is very controversial in that way because of the storytelling aspects that he makes. The decisions he makes are very much not consistent with what people stereotypically think of these heroes. Like Batman murders people. Everyone was like, he can't murder people. Like that's not a good thing. And Zack Snyder's like, this Batman is like almost 50 years old. He's like 20 years deep in his career. He lost his adopted son. He lost his parents. He's mentally not well. Killing people is like almost a natural, he's a man at the end of his rope. He kills people. Like you have to get over it.
Right.
So Superman killed Zod in the first Superman film. Like he wanted to put these characters in positions they don't normally appear in, which a lot of people didn't like, but some people obviously did. And he didn't really change that when the fans cried out about it. He kept making the films as he wanted to make them, and I appreciate that. I think that's a better thing than allowing the fans to kind of dictate what was supposed to happen, which is what I think with what Joss Whedon did when he made the film a lot more lighter in tone. It's because, Warner Brothers was like, the fans say it's too dark, or like the critics say it's too dark. We got to appeal to a broader audience, make it funnier.
Mm-hmm.
And people were like, but now it looks weird when it's funny. It shouldn't look like that. So.
Big yikes.
You know what?
I mean, not big yikes, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. I just rewatched Detective Pikachu, actually.
Oh, good movie.
That movie still holds up, and it still looks good. Like, Mewtwo, maybe not so much.
I mean, it wasn't that long ago, was it? How long ago was that?
No, it wasn't. I think it was 2 years ago it came out.
Yeah.
But
Good
like,
movie.
I just remember because I'm thinking about like seeing the first Sonic image and then seeing the second Sonic image. I was like,
Right.
oh my god, it's so much better. Like, but the Pokemon movie never really had that problem. Like, I remember seeing Pikachu and was like, that's exactly how it should look.
That's how it should look. Yeah, because they didn't go realistic Pokemon. They went like Pokemon the way they look in the show, but in real life.
Like we
Just
know
like-
this is never gonna look like tangible, like real. I love it.
Yeah, like if they tried to make Pikachu an actual mouse, then obviously it wouldn't have the appeal of Pikachu.
Yeah, it's just Mewtwo still looks really creepy though in that movie.
Oh,
It does. It does. Do you know what I heard? I heard that Mewtwo has like organs, obviously, and his tail is like one big brain. That's why he has so much like psychokinetic powers.
You know what? I think I did hear that. I think I've heard that.
But then,
too. Oh,
Mew apparently has no organs.
oh.
Now I saw a TikTok about this, so I don't know if it's true. But the person had like a anatomy Pokemon book. They went to the Mewtwo page and it's bisected, so half of it is Mewtwo's exterior and half of it's his interior, and you see all his organs and his tail, which is full of brain cells. Then he turns the page to Mew, and it's just a skeleton. There's no organs in it. And I'm like, what? And they're both rodents?
They're rodents?
Mew is a rodent, so Mewtwo is genetically a rodent.
I don't like that.
I know. Why are all the Pokemon rodents? Pikachu, Mew.
Whoever created Pokemon loves rodents.
It's a rodent fetish.
Oh my. So Mew doesn't have any well, I mean, I guess Mew is like a very magical being. It doesn't need organs to be a magical being.
I wish I didn't have organs. That'd be great.
You just wish you were a skeleton.
I mean, I already am. So I guess I already have my wish.
All right. Well, let me tell you something, Pat. We are 38 minutes in, which is just shy of a usual length of our podcast episode, but I think it's okay.
I'm shy, so it works.
So did you have anything else to talk about?
I suggest if anyone's on the fence about watching the film, watch the 4-hour version.
Oh,
because it's far better and you get the full like experience. Just make sure you pee. Have a meal with it. Make it like a dinner and a movie kind of thing.
Oh, cute.
Take an edible if you have it. Drink some wine.
What?
Like, not like if it's legal in your state. I'm not saying go out and buy drugs. I'm just saying like if you have the
even if it's not legal in your state, just
No, you don't support illegal. Do you see that TikTok where it's always someone stitching it, and the first one's like, just so you know, every time you smoke marijuana, it's illegal. It's federally prohibited.
My God, yes.
And then like the next the Stitch TikTok is like someone smoking a bong. Like they have like pounds of weed behind them. It's great.
Oh, TikTok.
Yeah.
Oh, TikTok. Well, if that is it from your end, Pat. Chug that water.
I can't put the water bottle to my lips because it'll hit my cold sore and it really hurts. So I have to like fountain it every time I drink it.
Oh, cute. Well, anyway, I think that's it for this episode of What Do the Gays Think? So if you don't follow us on Twitter, go ahead and give us a follow there. It's WDTGT Podcast. WDTGT Podcast. It's where we post all of our episodes and also where we post our memes and nonsense there. So come give us a follow. Also, we stream on Twitch, although we haven't streamed this week because we've both been busy.
Yeah. This month is rough for streaming.
A little bit, yeah. So, but usually we stream on Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. So if you want to follow us on Twitch and see what cool games we play, come give us a follow there. That's What Do the Gamers Think? GAYMERS. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and leave us a comment. Also, like and subscribe. We appreciate those numbers. And if you're on any podcast platform, go ahead and give us a rating. A 5-star rating would be great, but if 4 stars is fine too. I don't care.
I'll settle.
I'll settle for 4. I'll settle.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, and if you have watched Justice League or you're going to watch it because of this podcast episode, go ahead and send us a tweet and let us know. And that's it. So thanks everybody for watching. I am Matt Klubeck.
And
Why?
And all the men call me the Snyder Cut because I go for 4 hours.
Okay. Okay.
Yep.
Get out of here. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Goodbye.
Bye.